So, Harry,
Yeah.
do you have any experience with shoplifting?
Not a lot, but no, you should probably call the police for this, by the way. I did once steal a courgette from Waitrose.
Oh, the humanity, you monster.
Yeah.
It's a whole courgette?
Yes, it's also the most middle-class thing I've ever done.
From Waitrose as well. Dare I ask where you stuck it? Like...
No.
No, okay.
No.
It wasn't like a prison courgette, no.
No. I just forgot that I put it in my basket or whatever, and I forgot to put it through the self-checkout. It was an honest mistake. I got home and I was like, oh my God, I've stolen a courgette.
I hope you took it back.
I didn't know I'd ate it.
Oh my God.
I've been feeling guilty ever since. This was
I
years
can see
ago.
This has really torn you up inside, yeah.
I shop at Aldi now.
A master criminal. that's the trajectory of the common criminal from Waitrose to Aldi in a couple of years. Oh dear.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. Was really how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where today we are pitching prequels, sequels, and spin-off ideas to Muriel's wedding. We'll also be pitching some drinking games and hearing other sequel pitches from our Twitter followers. But first, we're going to talk about some of our favourite moments from the original movie and catch you up with a bit of a plot summary. I'm Harry, the host with the most, soon to be dependent family.
Yeah, the clocks are ticking.
And joining me, as always, the host with the most free spirit, is John Lucas.
I've got all the time in the world. No babies coming this way.
Okay, so Muriel's wedding.
Yes.
Why do you pick this one then,
Well, because
John?
this is our penultimate episode. Probably worth putting out there. So we wanted to do something a bit special.
Yeah.
And this just happens to be my favourite film in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
So that's why. Because I'd love it.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, it's a pretty good reason to pick a film.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, this was all right.
Yeah. I don't want this to be a 2 hour, just me.
No, I'm kidding. I
monologuing.
love this movie. This is
Oh,
great.
I'm glad. Okay, I'm pleased. I mean, I would find it quite hard to be friends with somebody who didn't at least somewhat enjoy this film. But
Yeah. No, this was it's really something, isn't it?
it's such a good. I think it's just so well pitched. Like everything about it is just pitch perfect. Like my favorite kinds of comedies are comedies that have room for like a little bit of sadness in there. And I don't mean that, but
And this one has a lot of
exactly. That's weird. But it makes it doesn't take away the funny parts though. I think it makes it all a lot more human. You're not just laughing mind. Like this film could have been just with a slightly different actor or a different direction. It could have just been a very broad comedy about a very unsympathetic person who's just and you'd just be laughing at her, or you'd be like, thank God I don't know this person. 'Cause
Yeah.
on paper, a lot of the things she does are terrible.
Oh, she is terrible, Muriel.
She is terrible, Muriel. I mean, she steals $12,000 from her parents.
It's
like, you know,
insane.
yeah.
Like, she is the worst.
Okay.
She...
Steady on. Okay. I was about to follow up by saying how much I relate to her in many ways, but go on.
No, I understand why you relate. She's the worst. No, I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, like she is absolutely terrible. And the things that she does, I remember what I was going to say. It is very bold of you to have this as your favorite movie because I feel like most people's favorite movies are much more sort of feel-good movies. And this isn't a feel-good movie.
Oh, for me it is.
It comes round at the end, but it takes you on such a tragic journey. Like it's one of the most tragic films that I've seen, to be honest, other than, horror movies.
Between this and Schindler's List, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've not seen that.
No,
so
no.
There's a reason.
We never got around to that one.
Until next week, the last
We're
episode.
going to really end on a high. Yeah.
No, like even at the end, once she's learned her lesson, like serious damage has been done. So it's a bold move for this to be your favorite movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like it because of that, though. I think it really takes you on an emotional journey. It's not just, it doesn't just make me feel good. It does make me feel good, the ending, but like the whole film just feels very, like I like the fact that it's a very flawed character, and I was a bit of a not the most popular teenager in the world, and I was a bit of an awkward teenager, and I did spend a lot of my time sat in my room listening to pop music, and that was like a form of escape for me. So on that level, I'm feeling slightly out of place, and my parents were nowhere near as bad as her dad is. Don't get me wrong; they were very nice people, both of them. and I didn't have friends half as horrible as the people who she calls friends in the first part of this film. But yeah, I definitely always felt a little bit of an outsider and stuff. And so that part of it really always resonated with me. And I saw it when I was for the first time when I was about 12 or 13 years old. So I think it just really...
Oh, yeah, that just works.
It just came at me at the right time. And I was like, this woman is me. And obviously now I watch, I'm like, no, I would never steal that much money. I'm not that crazy. But like, you know, there's a lot about it. And I really think that the tone of this film is just so... It's so hard to get right, but I think it gets
the tone's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is this what Australian comedy is just like?
I was going to say...
Because I've only recently watched all of Kath and Kim, and it's not too dissimilar.
No, I agree. And even like other big Australian films that we've done, like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, it's more like feel good than this is, but that's not without its sadness in it. That has tragic elements to it. What other ones have we done?
Strictly Ballroom?
Yeah, I can't remember how much sadness there is in that, but I feel like there's a lot. Like, I feel like there's definitely a grittiness to Australian comedy, the best Australian comedies that... Especially in the 90s, they were just on form. There were just like so many of these classic films were coming out. So yeah, I just think it's absolutely brilliant. So, and I've lost count of how many times I've watched it. Watched it again last night, and it was like watching it for the first time. It was just I got that much pleasure out of it. Like, also, it's so well paced. There's like no fat on this film whatsoever. Every scene is memorable and moves the plot along. Sometimes to a point where you're like, how much time is passing here? Like, there's a bit of a like whiplash effect sometimes. You're like, oh, she's got cancer twice in the space of 20 minutes. Like, there are moments, but I think in terms of like keeping the pace going, it's really, really, it doesn't drag at all.
I do still find this hard to call it a feel-good movie because sure, it has a sort of happy ever after kind of thing.
It's more bittersweet,
but there's so much sadness that, like, in most of the characters.
Sure, yeah.
Like all the way through. And there's so many bad things happening to everybody. And there's not really any good things that happen to anybody until Muriel learns how to be a good friend at the very end.
True, yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I'm not denying any reason why this is anybody's favorite movie.
Yeah, no. Fantastic. Speak your truth. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I think it's essentially a very sad story.
Yeah, because like when I compare it to... I don't think I have a favorite movie, but like of my favorite movies, I'd say the closest one is probably like Forrest Gump or something like that. And there's a lot of happiness and a lot of fun in Forrest Gump. There's also a lot of tragedy.
Yeah,
but like there's a lot of fun times in that movie, and I don't know, just a lot of the things that happen in this, they're just, oh, this wedding doesn't feel right. Oh my God, she just ignored her mum.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to the wedding and that and the poor mother, but like. I think even at the saddest moments, with maybe the exception of the mum, which is just pure heartbreak, but even the really sad, they have like an edge of comedy to them, like just in the dialogue and the way the actors play. Like, that's what I mean. The tone is just so perfectly pitched in a way that it could so easily have gone horribly wrong and just been bleak or just been really broad and like.
You're right. Yeah, it just kind of, I'd say, it just kind of skirts just above being bleak into that sweet spot of being hilarious and really heartwarming.
Yeah, because I think what the thing is, you're not laughing at the characters. Well, no, you're not laughing at Muriel. You're kind of laughing with, in a way. Or you're judging her in certain places, obviously, because she does do some terrible things. But like on the whole,
but those aren't the funny bits.
No, exactly.
Like when you're laughing, you're definitely laughing with the whole situation.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But I do think it's essentially a very sad story, but it's couched in this kind of joy and fun, which is actually kind of a great metaphor for an ABBA song. Most ABBA songs are like, if you listen to the lyrics, are like very depressing, you know. Yeah. But they're all in that classic Swedish way with the happy, upbeat, you know, knowing me, knowing you, and all that kind of stuff. SOS, you know, catchy pop choruses. So I think it kind of is fitting that it's kind of an ABBA film, which we haven't discussed yet, but it's a very ABBA heavy film.
Oh, big time, yeah. There's two things that have sort of come out of having just watched this movie. One is
the closet.
No, not yet. Is I need more ABBA in my life.
Sure, yeah, everyone does.
Yeah, because I just don't hear enough of it. I've not heard it for a fair while, probably since the last Eurovision or whatever, the last Swedish thing. And so watching this is like, oh, this song, oh, and this song, oh, and this one, great, this is fantastic. It's just a fun time all around.
It really uses them well. Yeah,
it does. And then just want to see more Toni Collette movies.
Yes, absolutely.
She's really good in this.
Did we do Midsommar? No. Did we do Hereditary on the main show? We did Midsommar, yeah.
I don't think we did. No.
I mean, we reviewed it on our bonus show, so
Yeah.
we did discuss it at one point. But yeah, absolutely. She is my favorite actress, and I love her in everything she's in, and I wish she got to do more stuff. But she's
We did Sixth Sense.
We did do The Sixth Sense, yeah.
Well,
When we did
the
that one,
most rewarding role for her.
yeah, true. We did The Way We're Back. That was one that we did.
Oh, yeah.
She played a lot of mums in American, like indie, Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've
she's good in that.
We've done quite a few, but yeah, I
And we've
think
reviewed Knives Out as well. That's another good.
She's always a
film
good
of hers.
time. She's great. She's just a very, very talented actress. So yeah. But speaking of ABBA, actually, just one little fascinating fact for you. So ABBA are very famously resistant to licensing out their music. Like they're very like careful about when they let people sample their songs or use the songs in films. That's why even though they're the biggest band in the world, you don't hear them. You won't hear an ABBA song on like an Asda advert or something. They just don't do that. They're very protective. So, and they basically said no to this, low budget Australian film that it would really have no chance of getting the rights to all these amazing ABBA songs. And they said no. And it was only when I think ABBA read the script, or maybe Benny and Bjorn read the script, and oh, actually, this is great. And I think they let them have it for like much cheaper than they would have normally.
I assume it's a pretty low budget movie as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it made loads of money. It made loads of money because it did really well, but it was absolutely nobody in this film was a star. Like Toni Collette was like one of the first things she literally ever did. Same for Rachel Griffith, who played Rhonda. But yeah, ABBA just liked it, or someone involved with ABBA liked it enough that they gave them the rights for the songs. Literally at the last minute, they were like, "Okay, you can have it. You can use all our songs."
Wow!
But it was
it's written so much into the plot as well. Like that has to alter the script quite significantly.
Well, that's the thing. So when they were just a few weeks away from starting to film, and it looked like ABBA were going to not let them have it, they genuinely considered rewriting it to make it so that Muriel's favorite band was the Village People.
Wow, okay.
That is a very YMCA in the Navy, like that macho. That's a very different film. You would not have got that same kind of.
Do women listen to that?
No, I don't. Well, I'm sure women do, but that would have been. It wouldn't have worked. That would have been. It had to be ABBA. It had to be like. Dancing Queen is like a symphony in this song. Those strings that they keep coming back into. Like it couldn't be anything but them, so thank God ABBA saw sense and let them have it, because it would have been a much weaker movie if it was the Village People. Not that I've got anything against the Village People, but
no,
not the same at all. Like Muriel sat sadly in her bedroom just like, in the Navy, in the Navy. It just doesn't quite have the same emotional resonance. So
do they have enough hits even? Because like ABBA have just
ABBA have so many. Yeah, I think there's. I think I know 4 Village People songs. Yeah, so there's the YMCA, In the Navy, Macho Man. Actually, is there a 4th one? I feel there's another one. Maybe something about cruising. I don't know. Yeah, they're all much of a muchness. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So thank God for ABBA. Yeah.
If not ABBA, who would your number 2 choice been for the band?
I mean, I guess they could have got away with it. Not that this is a band, but Kylie maybe.
Okay.
Just that similar kind of shimmering pop, and that would have had the Australian connection maybe. It has to be some that kind of pop music though. That's like there's not many people or bands that have enough hits to, give you that kind of magical feeling. So and I think like you could have Madonna, but Madonna's a bit more like aggressive. She's not really like someone you listen to when you're feeling down.
Maybe some of the older stuff.
Some of it, I'm sure, yeah. But I think the closest I could think is Kylie, but still ABBA. It would have to be ABBA.
Yeah. No, this film just would not be the same without ABBA, and it makes the film even more of a delight to watch.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah. Totally.
I remember you saying once, I think it was that birthday that you had when we just watched like 6 movies or something.
Yeah.
Well, I think we planned to watch about 6 movies.
We got to about 4.5.
I started falling asleep about during the 5th movie, which was like Serial Mom or something.
Yeah. We did. We did Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Oh my God, you remember this?
Yeah, and I remember we did Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. We did.
Listeners, this was years before the podcast.
This was ages ago. I can't remember the order, but I know that we had Baby Jane. We had, I think, Serial Mom was second, and then we did Showgirls. Muriel's Wedding.
I've seen Showgirls before.
You had, but I think we were already.
That must be the one that I was falling asleep in.
Yeah, I think you were falling asleep with Showgirls, and then I think. Yeah, I tried to make us watch Muriel's Wedding, and you were just like, "I'm out." Yeah,
because I think that you put it on, and then I think you fell asleep immediately, and I was like, "I'm just gonna leave."
Yeah, that's
like
what happened,
I've been trying to leave for ages, and finally John stopped stopping me leaving.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go, and Like, I was kind of feeling bad for like leaving you asleep on your own on your birthday. It's the end of your birthday.
It was like 1 a.m. at this point. It'd been a whole day. It's fine.
Yeah, but I remember like the next day you said just like, I had such a great time. Like, I just woke up in the middle of the night and ABBA was playing on the telly.
Yeah.
Just because like the credits of this film were on. Like, I'd missed my favorite movie, but ABBA was playing. So
Also, I've seen this movie like upwards of 30
I know,
times.
yeah.
It's like, oh, damn, I've missed it. I'm not even joking. I will, if I ever see this film on like just channel hopping, I have to watch it. Like, it's just one of those for me. So
Yeah.
never gets old.
Would you watch it if like after recording this, if it just happened to be on ITV, would you watch it now? Like you've watched it probably less than 24 hours ago?
I'd be tempted, yeah.
Okay.
That's her.
Miss, we'd like to have a word to you about your dress.
What's wrong with it? You stole it. I saw you.
Give me your work number, and if she can't turn up a receipt, I can call you for a statement.
Ask for Diane, senior store detective.
Mind your head, please.
I'm so pleased. I had the perfect arrest record until I lost her in boys' wear.
How'd she be here?
I didn't. I'm the groom's cousin.
Cool. Right, well, should we get to the plot summary then?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, Muriel's
The
wedding.
impression this might be a longer episode.
No, I'm going to try and rattle through it. I don't want to, and I don't want this to be like me monologuing for an hour and a half. So, by all means, jump in on bits that you liked and bits you didn't like or whatever.
Okay.
Yes, so Muriel's Wedding was released in 1995, I think, directed by Paul Hogan, Australian director.
I looked it up. It's 1994. I looked it up for a reason. Is because I was interested why they were. The Olympics are a thing in this.
Yes.
And they're talking about the Sydney Olympics.
Ah, yeah.
And I was like,
that was in 2000, yeah.
yeah, it was in 2000. I was like, isn't this like early 90s, this film?
Well, don't they like...
I was just trying to work out, like, did this film come out like before those Olympics were announced? Did they predict the Sydney Olympics
Don't
or anything?
they-
No, they didn't.
Don't they line up the Olympics like 2 Olympics in advance, though? So don't we already know where it's going to be in like 2024 and 2028 or something?
Yeah. I just thought thought I'd look into it. And
Although it is weird to think that
this film came out almost a year to the day after the Olympic announcement.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
But then, it is interesting that there's a whole plot point about the swimmer, though, because you'd think you wouldn't plan for someone to be going to the Olympics in 6 years because he would have probably lost a lot of form by then, just naturally from getting older.
Well, maybe this film is set 6 years in the future.
Maybe it is actually stealthily a future movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of VHS stuff in this, so probably not. But
Were DVDs a big thing in the 99?
no, but by 2000, no, probably still not. Well, they'd be creeping in a little bit, but no.
I remember VHS quite well. So,
Fair enough. Maybe you're right. Maybe this film is set in the not too distant future.
Mm-hmm.
But that's never something I've thought about before. Yeah. I'll watch it tonight and report back on whether that works. But yeah, released, directed by an Australian director called Paul Hogan, starred Toni Collette as Muriel Heslop.
I feel like I've recognised the name Paul Hogan.
Actually, no, I think I might be getting that mixed up. It's something Hogan. Is it Paul Hogan? But there's also another Hogan who is the guy who plays Crocodile Dundee, but it's a different guy, no relation. Yeah, strangely enough. Because this was apparently the third highest grossing Australian film of all time behind the first 2 Crocodile Dundee movies.
Really?
So, yeah. So
That's quite interesting.
yeah. But they were directed by... Oh, yeah, sorry. Paul Hogan is Crocodile Dundee. This was directed by PJ Hogan.
Ah.
You can see how easily that...
Yeah.
PJ may even stand for Paul. I don't know. It does. It stands for Paul. So a different Paul Hogan. But,
Great.
yeah. Anyway, this is going to be a long one. Yeah, it stars Toni Collette as Muriel Heslop, and we're introduced to the film at a wedding, and she is this kind of classic ugly duckling, kind of awkward woman, young girl in her probably early 20s or something, or mid 20s. It's not entirely clear. But we instantly see her, and she's catching a bouquet at her wedding. But then her horrible friends, it's her friend's wedding, this blonde girl, Tanya, and her horrible friends make her throw the bouquet again, because it's like, don't be so selfish. You're never going to get married. And that kind of sets us up, and she's like an outsider.
This one's been dating Brad or Chuck, is it?
No, Chuck's the one that Tanya's marrying.
This one's been dating Brad for 2 weeks. Like, she needs to get
It's
engaged.
her time, yeah. These are all horrible, toxic friends.
Yeah.
But so they make her throw the bouquet again. And I mean, I just love Muriel's all the outfits in this film are amazing, but this opening outfit, because the dress is obviously a big part of this opening scene, because she gets arrested for shoplifting this dress, and it is such an ensemble for it's this like leopard skin print dress with hot pants underneath that are also leopard skin print, and also a matching scrunchie in her side ponytail and these massive. It's amazing. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, it turns out that she shoplifted this dress because then she is caught by the police turn up and say, we want to talk to you about your dress. And it turns out that she's been spotted by the store detective. Yeah, and like, wow, it's amazing that you tracked her down. She's like, oh no, I'm the groom's cousin. Like, how mean-spirited do you have to be at a wedding and to be like, that's a stolen dress, I'm going to shop this woman? Like,
well, at this point, I wasn't sure if she'd stolen it or if it's just if that was just a way of somebody not liking her or not liking the way that she looked and just being like, we need to get rid of this person from the wedding.
True, but that's not the case. But no, she did steal this dress. So she gets taken home. She lives with her parents still, and I think there's 4 of us. There's so many siblings running around. I think there's 4.
Yeah, I think she's got 2 brothers and a sister.
2 brothers, 2 sisters, because there's the main sister.
Oh,
and
there's a much younger one.
There's
as
a much
well.
younger one who just is always on the phone, who doesn't really have any lines. But
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
a younger brother who runs around as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's this family, and they're clearly very poor, and they're all like complete layabouts. But her father is like a corrupt local politician.
Yeah.
And he basically buys off the police who drop her off with a big crazy bear. Yeah, it's a great smash cut. You just see them. Him walking out with
because
giant crate.
he says to one of the boys, like, "Oh, go and get them a beer."
Yeah.
And then he never gets them a beer, and then they walk away. They've got a massive crate of beer. Like,
yeah,
is that a beer or is that like 20?
Yeah. So we get immediately we get this thing, and she just sits and Muriel's just sitting in a bedroom listening to Dancing Queen by ABBA and just feeling sorry for herself. And we instantly know everything about who this person is, basically. Yeah. So her dad's this corrupt politician, and then the family are all at this Chinese restaurant, and the dad just basically rips them all to shreds. He's just horribly abusive. He's a horrible, horrible father to all of them. He says they're all useless, and he just basically belittles them all and tells them all that they're complete disappointments to him.
I was thinking during this,
It's like Dad 101. This is how to do it.
Because I like to rank my villains.
Yeah, sure.
I think that he's close to Billy Zane from Titanic.
Yeah. I think they give him a little... Like, he's not like moustache twirly villain. He's more just like a bad person.
Yeah.
You know? But... And he gets a... Not a redemption, but he gets a little bit of like spark of humanity at the end. They kind of almost...
He learns the same lesson as Muriel.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but... And he's... Oh, we should have said he's played by the great Australian actor Bill Hunter, who I believe is in every Australian film ever. Yeah. He's just one of those. He just pops up in literally everything. So
yeah.
He was great. So he's incredibly horrible to his children and his wife, his poor wife, who's this very quiet, mousy woman who's obviously quite depressed. And he's also very brazenly having an affair with this woman, Deirdre Chambers, who's every time they're in this restaurant, which is or in any restaurant, it's multiple times in the film.
In multiple cities,
she will turn up and be like, Deirdre Chambers, what a coincidence. And she'll sit down like... It's funny, but it's also the level of disrespect he has for his poor wife that he's not even bothering to hide it. He's just like, just come to the restaurant and sit down and join us for a meal. And like, it's so sad. But
yeah.
But Deirdre does actually do Muriel a favor, because Muriel, we gather from her dad's horrible rants, is that she's been unemployed for God knows how long, and she doesn't bring any money in. And he sent her away to type in school, but she couldn't learn to type and all this kind of stuff. So Deirdre offers her a job kind of selling cosmetics.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like she sells her a few makeup kits, and then she'd have to sell them on for a profit. It's kind of like those Avon ladies kind of thing, I guess. Like a door-to-door salesman kind of thing. So Muriel takes that job. Then around that same time, she's out for drinks with her horrible bitchy friends from the wedding. And I forgot to mention, at the wedding, she spotted the groom, Chuck, having sex with one of the bridesmaids.
Yes.
But she didn't tell anyone, but she spotted that happening. Because that's a high class move to not literally on your wedding day. Just but yeah, so she's seen that, and in whatever couple of weeks later have passed, and now the bride has found out that her husband's having an affair, not because anyone told her, but because she's found lipstick on his dick. And she's like crying and crying and crying. And then they all decide all the other friends convince the bride to cash in her honeymoon, and they'll all go on like a girls' holiday that they were planning to go on to Hibiscus Island, which is in Florida, like a resort in Florida. And this is the first Muriel has heard about this party. She's like, what holiday? And then they decide that this is the moment to dump her, essentially. They break up with her as friends. They tell her that...
They do ask her to finish her drink first.
Oh, that's true. That's one of my favourite lines. Let her finish her orgasm. and then the awkwardness as she sits there with the straw, just slowly like drinking this. That's really good.
Let's tell her. We were going to tell her after the holiday, but I think we should tell her now. Muriel. Wait! Let her finish her orgasm.
But yeah, and they basically tell her that we don't want you hanging around us anymore, and they just really rip into her again. They say that she's embarrassing and she doesn't fit in with them, and she needs to find friends at her own level and stuff. And they're really dismissive of her. And
find friends down at her own level.
Yeah, that's it. You need to find friends down on your level. They are awful. And this is one of my favorite scenes of the film. Actually, I think that kind of sums up why I think this film is so special. Is that so they do this horrible thing to her, and then they go back to kind of talking among themselves. And like Tanya, the bride, is like she's crying over her husband, but like performatively crying. Like she's obviously just a drama queen, and she's like, I hate him so much. I'm gonna go sleep with 1,000 men. And then Muriel starts really crying, and like this is amazing from Toni Collette. I think that like proper like ugly crying, and she's so devastated, and she's like begging them not to break up with her and to not stop being friends with her, and she just is absolutely heartbroken. And they're so horrified by her like authentic human reaction that they're just like, you're embarrassing us again, like, and then they just leave her. And it's really sad, but
it's horrible.
Yeah, but like I love that the film like does that. Like I said, it isn't afraid to be like, oh no, she's not just someone you can laugh at. She's a human being, and she's in pain, and like she like says something like, I'm not nothing. Like it's really sad.
Muriel, you've got to find friends on your own level. Like I found Chook. He's up on my level. Marrying him was the happiest day of my life. I love him so much. The bastard! I'll show him. I'll go on this holiday and I'll sleep with 1,000 men. I'm not nothing. Muriel, can't you think of anyone but yourself? Tanya's upset. I'm not nothing. Well, nobody said that. Oh, that showed me out of the group. You're embarrassing us again.
So they go on their holiday, and she makes the terrible decision. Terrible. I mean, it works out for her, but like, it's a rough one.
This is the worst part of the movie. It's the worst thing that anybody does in the movie.
Steals the money. Yeah.
Because I don't get the impression that they're a rich family.
Well, no, they're not, because $12,000 wipes them out.
Yeah, like they've not got loads of money. Only one person has a job, and to varying levels of success. There are 5 children, and
well, the children are all adults, but yeah.
Well, there's 5 grown adult children who are all not bringing money in, and presumably eating loads and not mowing the lawn. And oh
no, this is bad. This is bad.
The mother's at her wit's end as well, and like, by doing it, it's like, as the mother basically says, it makes it all the mother's fault.
Yeah,
just you wouldn't steal that money. You wouldn't do that to me.
Yeah.
No,
I think the mother's like blind optimism and like faith is the saddest thing about this whole situation. She never judges her.
Yeah,
she's just like. But actually, interestingly enough, this was based on the director's. This part of the story was based on the director's real life. Apparently he had quite an abusive father who wasn't very nice, and he had a sister, and his sister did steal a load of money from the family and then ran off to Sydney for like years.
Wow.
But then the director was like, I kind of understood why she did it, and that was kind of the inspiration for it. So,
but it's also so selfish, because what about the mother or her 4 siblings? What if any of them are going through anything similar to what she's going through?
Well, true.
And now there's no more money to steal.
No, absolutely, this is true, and that is the thing. She's a very flawed character, but
like, it's going to make everybody's lives harder, and nobody else is going to have that escape opportunity that she's got.
True, but she just wants to get out. She's just
I get
so
it,
desperate.
but also, she doesn't even do that as an escape from the family. She takes that money so she can go on a brief holiday, and that's it.
Yeah, no, it's
she comes back, and like she doesn't have a suitcase full of money. She's not prepared to run away and leave.
True.
So, yeah, it's not like she stole the money and ran away. She stole the money, went on holiday.
Yeah, no,
it's just a holiday. It's not a life change.
Yeah, I don't think this is at any point supposed to be suggesting that she's a stable person at this point. Like, she's got a lot of problems, and she is behaving.
Absolutely, but it is just one of the most selfish.
It is hard, and I think it is a testament to Toni Collette that you have any sympathy for her after this scene.
Yeah,
it is awful. Yeah, because basically she kind of tricks the mother because the dad says, I'll write her a blank check so she can buy the cosmetics that she needs, which would come to like, we learn later would come to like $80 or something. So the mum's writing her a blank check, and she says, who should I make it out to? And Muriel says, oh, cash.
Yeah.
And which means she can cash it herself without having to go to anyone else. And yeah, she steals $12,000 and flies off to the same island that her bitchy ex-friends have gone to. And yeah, I mean, what her end game was in going to the exact same holiday resort is mind-blowing, like terrible idea. But again, the reaction from them really made me laugh when they're just, it's this very beachy Florida resort and they're all just sat sipping cocktails, and when they just look, and she's just sat across the pool just kind of staring at them, it's just, and they just scream. It is it's really funny. And then also it just that whole funny thing again where they storm over to her and like throw drinks in her face, like and just go, you mental case, stay away from us, and then storm away again. And then one of my other favorite, I have so many favorite lines, but one of my definitely my top 5, and again, it's just about everything about the way it looks, is there's one girl who's slightly kinder than the rest of them, only slightly, and she's standing in front of Muriel, the rest all storm off, and she's wearing like this giant pink hat and these like coconut shell bra and like just looking so tacky, and she just kind of looks at Muriel and goes, you've got no dignity, Muriel. It's just so funny.
Yeah.
It's a great line.
Hi. What a coincidence. You mental case! You keep away from us! You've got no dignity, Muriel.
But yeah, so while she's on this island, she coincidentally runs into another old school friend, not part of the horrible bitchy clique, called Rhonda, who's played by Rachel Griffiths.
Yeah.
She's an old pal from school who also hates the bitchy girls. And she recognizes Muriel instantly. But Muriel pretends that, well, she assumes that Muriel must be engaged.
Yes.
So, and Muriel just goes along with this lie and kind of claims that she is engaged to a guy called Tim Sims, which I love the fast thinking Tim Sims. And Rhonda kind of guesses that she must be out for some kind of one last fling kind of thing. Yeah. So they get this whole lie kind of builds up. But Rhonda is basically the exact kind of person that you would want to, run into on a holiday and like change your life a little bit and make, she's just completely non-judgmental and is tons of fun and instantly just really likes Muriel, stands up to the bitches. Like she goes up to the bitchy girls and introduces herself, and they kind of remember her a little bit. And then they offer to like take her for a drink, and she's like, shove the drinks up your arse, arsehole Tanya. I'd never want to drink with you. And then she kind of says, she reveals that one of the other bitchy girls was the one who slept with the bride. So she just causes havoc between those girls. And I love how we just see them like reacting to that, and then the next scene we just cut to the two girls with like black eyes. Like,
I love it. It's great. Such a good cut.
It's such a funny cut, yeah. And then we get Rhonda and Muriel doing the amazing full-length ABBA lip sync.
This was fantastic.
So fun.
And like Toni Collette in this was outstanding. So I love how she starts off with this dance with no confidence whatsoever.
Yeah.
And like she's following Rhonda's moves. She doesn't know the moves very well. She doesn't have the confidence to kind of lead. Yeah. And so she's just sort of following. But then by the end, especially when the other girls start fighting, by the end she's just doing. It's a two-piece at that point. She's absolutely got it. It's great.
It's fantastic. My favorite bit is the dancing is amazing. It's fully recreating the Waterloo video, but also there's a bit where she just kind of, because Rachel, they're both wearing wigs, and Rachel Griffith, Rhonda's wearing the Frida wig, the redheaded ABBA girl's big permy wig, and Muriel just kind of pushes the wig to the side so her face is in the frame. That's just fantastic. It's comedy genius. Like.
What a fantastic surprise.
I don't believe it. I haven't seen you since Hopper Spit High.
How are you?
Married?
Muriel told me. Turkey.
Chook.
Chook, that's right. Well, congratulations.
Come and have a drink with us.
Really? You want to have a drink with me?
Well, we can't let you spend the entire holiday alone. We're not in school anymore, Rhonda. You don't have to feel you're not good enough for us now.
I don't.
If I feel you've changed, I'll tell you. I'm honest. Unlike some people, I tell it like it is.
The truth?
Yes?
I tell the truth too.
Nicole's having an affair with Chook. Muriel saw them fucking in the laundry on your wedding day. Stick your drink up your ass, Tanya. I would rather swallow razor blades than drink with you. Oh, by the way, I'm not alone. I'm with Muriel.
So yeah, they have this amazing. They just like, totally connect, and they have this amazing friendship instantly. They get drunk on the beach that night, and again, there's another like slightly sad little moment when they're like laughing and singing along and having a great time, and they're drunk, and then just Muriel just gets very sad and thoughtful for a moment. She kind of just goes, "Do you ever think you're nothing?" And it's really lovely. And then, well, I mean, it's sad, but it's also then Rhonda like talks her up and says, "You're not nothing. You're amazing, and you've someone wants to marry you," which is obviously not true, which makes it a bit sad. But like, like she really gives her self-belief and she gives her self-confidence. She's just great. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
So then Muriel flies back to Pauper Spit. I think I forgot to mention that the town they live in is called Pauper Spit, which is a great name for a shitty town.
Yeah, it really is.
Not a real place, sadly, but a great name for a shitty place. Like a shitty, like sub-Blackpool beach resort kind of place. Yeah, she goes back, and obviously she's in a huge amount of trouble because she's stolen all of her parents' money. And the mum's like, Dad's so angry, that
You're terrible.
Oh yeah, we
Muriel.
get the first "You're terrible, Muriel" from the sister, which is her catchphrase through the movie. Yeah. And again, another great.
I'd say it's the line of the movie.
It is. It's the defining line of the movie. Yeah. It's the most quoted by far. Yeah. But yeah, again, so she's like, "You didn't really steal that money from me, did you?" And then we get another great just smash cut of her picking her bags up again, walking out the door, and then the taxi just drives into the distance, and she leaves them. She just leaves them again. Like she does a runner again.
Just awful.
Not the best behavior, but she's in too deep now. So, and then we cut to she moves to Sydney, and she's set up with Rhonda
It's
now.
a new chapter at this point.
It's literally a new chapter.
And she's had her hair done, and she looks amazing.
She looks so much better. She's definitely found her style now. Yeah. And she's working in a VHS store, which was always my dream job when I was a kid. So much fun. And she's working in a VHS store, and she even gets a date. She gets asked out for a date by lovely Bryce. Poor, sweet Bryce with his terrible dance skills.
Yeah. I relate to this guy.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, I could see elements of you in Bryce, definitely. But yeah, she gets asked out by this, like, he's like a nerdy video store, like, addict kind of guy. And they go dancing with Rhonda to this nightclub, and Rhonda's just like going for it. Like, she's got two men on the go, and then she takes those two guys home, and they try and dance, and his dancing, bless his heart, his dancing is some of the best worst I've ever seen on film.
I think it's better than mine though.
Really?
Yeah.
He's trying. I've never seen you try to dance.
I can't.
No, but you don't try. You don't. I've never seen you be like, "Oh fuck it, I'll just throw some moves." You just choose not to, which is your choice. That's fine. But yeah. Anyway, so they go out dancing, and then they go back to the flat that she's sharing with Rhonda. And Rhonda is very, very loudly having a threesome in the next room this whole time. And we have this amazing, awkward... Oh, well, first she sees her dad on the news. Because it turns out that from her stealing all her dad's money, it's led to her dad being investigated. And they found out all this corruption. Because he's a politician. All this corruption, all these bribes he takes and stuff. So now he's under police investigation. He's on like the national news being like investigated. So she like panically turns the TV off. And then they have this amazingly awkward attempted seduction scene when he's like the lying on a beanbag, which is never a good thing to have sex on.
No.
Lying on a big giant beanbag, and then he tries to unzip her like leather pants, and he gets the wrong zip, and he opens the beanbag, and there's just beans flying everywhere, I guess. And then she's laughing so hard that she accidentally kicks him over. A bird cage flies through a glass window. It all goes wrong.
Yep.
And then these two naked...
And she's like cackling with laughter.
She's screeching with laughter.
Yeah.
And the two guys that Rhonda's having the threesome with come running out completely naked, and they think that she's screaming in terror because her laughter is so high-pitched. And so they think that he must have been assaulting her. So then they like pin him down, and he's just like on the floor, the poor guy, and then she's screaming.
She's laughing because there's these two giant, mostly naked men.
Yeah, she's laughing at their dicks. It's just hilarious. And but in the middle of all this chaos, Rhonda falls over and reveals that she can't move her legs anymore. And then we get to the big dramatic turn in that Rhonda learns that she has cancer, and she needs to have it removed from her spine is going to mean that she may never walk again, basically. So we learn that Rhonda has cancer and she needs emergency spinal surgery. She's struggling to walk, and Muriel is kind of helping her through her physio and being a really good friend. And she gives this amazing speech where Rhonda gets really like overwhelmed and upset, and she's like, I hate this. I hate that I can't walk. I hate that I rely on you for everything. Like, how can you stand it? And she says, you know, when I lived back in Pauper Spit, I used to spend my entire life sitting in my bedroom listening to ABBA songs. But since I met you, I've not listened to one ABBA song because my life's as good as an ABBA song now. It's as good as Dancing Queen.
Yeah.
It's such a great, sweet little speech. And like, so also she gets a phone call from her family again. And, she calls her family from the hospital. That's it, because she's seen them on TV. And she finds out that, and she's like, what's going on? Why is Dad on the national news? And the sister says, well, the police are investigating him for taking bribes. And she's like, well, is he taking bribes? Like, yeah, but only because you stole all our money. You had to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she gets this phone call. She realizes that just exactly how much trouble she's got her family into. So that, I think that combined with Rhonda's cancer, like, obviously puts her under a lot of stress. And her coping mechanism for all of this stress is that she starts going into local bridal wear stores and pretending to be a bride-to-be. Oh, because she told Rhonda that her and Tim Sims had broken up and that she was like a bride on the run. That's how she's kind of... And she's changed her name to Muriel. I forgot she's also changed her name to Muriel. Yeah, from Muriel to Muriel. Such a needlessly pointless...
Yeah, it really is.
But it really made me laugh that she's just literally changed one letter. But... yeah, so she starts going...
Yeah, because like, oh, I hated that. Muriel Hislop. Ugh.
Now I'm Muriel Hislop.
Yeah. So similar.
Yeah. Yeah, so she starts dealing with all the stress because she's still focused on this idea that marriage is the be-all and end-all, and that's what's going to make her happy. She just wants to get married. So she's living in this fantasy, and she tells all the bridal store... Every bridal store she goes into, she tells a different version of the story about how her mother is sick or her sister's in a coma or something, and she gets all the photos, and she builds up this kind of bridal book of, you know, herself posing in all of these beautiful wedding dresses and stuff. That's like her weird little stress mechanism. But then Rhonda finds the album and she thinks that Muriel's leaving her to go back to she assumes that Muriel is getting back with Tim Sims. Yeah. And so she confronts she actually finds Muriel in a wedding shop trying on a dress. She's walking down. She's not walking. She's in a taxi down the street. She sees her through the window. She kind of goes rolling in, and she kind of confronts her on it. And then Muriel finally tells the truth, and she's like, There is no Tim Sims. I made it all up. It's all a lie. I'm not getting married. I just want to get married." And she has a complete breakdown. She's saying like, "Well, who'd want to marry me?" And she's like, she's like, "Stupid, ugly, fat Muriel Hislop. I hate her, and I don't want to go back there." And she's just crying and crying. And then I do again. One of the saddest scenes in the film, but then also one of the funniest moments when the wedding shop person goes...
That's what this film does so well.
Exactly. That's how it stops from getting too depressing, because then the wedding assistant goes up and goes, "Have you been in a coma?" Like, fuck off.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Why didn't you tell me you were going to marry Tim?
Who?
Tim Sims, your fiancé, the one who wants to shoot you.
No, just a minute. You can't come in here and threaten brides. I don't care how unfortunate you are.
Fuck off. Oh, what is going on, Muriel? I've seen your wedding album. You've tried on every dress in Sydney.
That doesn't mean I'm getting married.
What else does it mean?
I want to get married. I've always wanted to get married. If I can get married, it means I've changed. I'm a new person.
How?
Because who'd want to marry me?
Tim Sims.
There is no Tim Sims. I made him up. In Pauper Spit, no one would even look at me. But when I came to Sydney and became Muriel, Bryce asked me out. And that proves I'm already different than I was. And if someone wants to marry me, I'm not her anymore. I'm me.
Her?
Muriel! Muriel Hislop! Stupid, fat and useless. I hate her. I'm not going back to being her again. Why can't it be me? Why can't I be the one?
Have you been in a coma?
Yes, so...
Doesn't Rhonda have the line a bit earlier when the doctor says that, like, yeah, you've got a cancerous tumour. And doesn't she have the line, like, is it from unprotected sex?
She says it's not from too much sex.
Too much sex, yeah.
Yeah, and then she also says, "Oh my God, cancer! I'm gonna go bald and eat macrobiotic food." Like, So her and Rhonda have this kind of falling out, and she's obviously very devastated by it. So she starts looking through the local advertisements, like the local papers for like dates, I guess. And she finds an advert from a South African athlete called David Van Arkel, who's looking for like a bride of convenience, basically, who has to be Australian because he needs to marry an Australian to get Australian citizenship so he can represent Australia rather than South Africa in the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
So she goes to meet him and his coach, and David Van Arkel's his horrified reaction to it, his facial expressions for this whole scene. They're so harsh.
It's awful, but just I love the contrast to what Muriel's doing with her face at this point.
Yeah, she's just so delusional at this point.
Yeah.
She's just like happy to be going along with this scheme, like, and the coach is really in on it. And yeah, she does say some hilarious things in this bit. Like, they're talking about the reason he can't represent South Africa is because there's been like there's a load of race tension at the like some black people got shot, and she goes, "Are you black?" And he's like, "What?" But the coach decides that she's the perfect candidate, even despite his deep misgivings. So, yes.
But what about the blonde from yesterday?
You didn't like her? Well, I've changed my mind. And he says the immortal line. He says, "Now, Muriel, do you think you'd have any trouble with lying?" She's like, "Give it a go."
Yeah.
So she agrees to get married to David Van Arkel. And then she has her dream wedding, but that does mean that she has to leave Rhonda. She kind of really throws Rhonda under a bus in this sequence. So she has her dream wedding to the rich South African guy, and it's like a big ceremony. It's everything she wanted. She's wearing a beautiful dress. All the bitches come. They're her bridesmaids. She brings them back in to be the bridesmaids, which she thinks is like a personal victory. It's like, well, now I'm as good as they were. It's like she's completely misunderstood. You know, when they dumped her and said you need to find friends on your level, she's thought, right, I'm going to get to your level, kind of thing. So, yes, she has this kind of deeply depressing wedding. Nobody's happy about at all. Apart from her, she's just thrilled in that moment. I mean, I love the walk up the aisle to, again, great use of ABBA, to I Do, the ABBA song.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The bridesmaids like trying to like find the right rhythm to walk because it's like a really like fast-paced kind of song. So that was really funny. Rhonda does attend in her wheelchair with her mother, and she reveals that she has to move back to Pauper Spit, which was the one thing she begged Muriel never to let her do. She's having to move back to Pauper Spit with her mum. Yeah. Because she can't look after herself or take care of the rent or anything. Yeah. So that's really sad. Oh shit! Rhonda has this run-in with the bitches, and obviously they haven't seen her since the holiday when she wasn't in a wheelchair. And they're like, "Oh my god, what happened to you?" And she's like, "Oh, I've got cancer." And one of the girls goes, "Oh, you were so full of life." I'm not dead, Brenda. It's awful, so bad. But I just loved her reaction. I'm not dead, Cheryl. Like,
yeah.
And then her and Muriel have a whole confrontation where she kind of tells Muriel, like, you gave up on me and I'm having to move home now, and it's all your fault. And Muriel says, well, I don't want you to go back to Pauper Spit. And she's like, on a bus. And she's like, well, you should have thought about that before you gave up on me. And then she's like, oh no, I don't want you to go on the bus. I've got you 2 plane tickets. Just, again, one of the worst things she says.
Like kick her while she's down.
Just really kick her while she's down.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't I don't think she like knows how.
No, absolutely no.
She's just clueless. Yeah. And of course, the saddest part of the wedding, the most heartbreaking, the mother. The mother who arrives, because the father's still broke and he's increasingly under police investigation, it seems. It doesn't seem like things are getting any easier for him.
And he's shown up to the wedding with his mistress.
Oh, yeah, he's fully left his wife for Deirdre Chambers now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have a dinner, don't they, in Cindy? Yeah, so he's left his wife for Deirdre Chambers, and he doesn't even pay for his wife to come to the wedding. She has to get a bus. She doesn't even get a plane ticket to Sydney. And so she arrives to the wedding late. They don't even wait for her.
No, it is mentioned to Muriel as well that, like, you know, your mum's just got in a taxi. She'll be here in 15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, and they just don't wait for her. It's awful. Yeah. And then none of the siblings are there at all, I guess. Nobody's bothered to pay for them to go. So yeah, the poor mum, she arrives late. She just at the end, she parks herself at the very back. She's got like a presents in her arms, and she's got a fancy hat and everything. It's gutting when she walks when they walk down the aisle, and she just misses her completely. Like she doesn't ignore her. She just doesn't see her. But then the camera just really holds on the mum,
And,
she walks past.
and this is the point when she breaks.
And she really starts crying. Yeah, and it's devastating.
It's really hard to watch.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that actress, amazing.
Outstanding.
She's fantastic. I mean, all the acting's amazing, but she was so.
Because like before this, throughout the film, she'd been very blindly optimistic. Like, oh no, there must have been a problem with the bank. Like, you wouldn't take that money from me. You wouldn't take those checks and stuff like that. And she's been quite optimistic with the dad as well. Like, oh yeah, I better actually make that cup of tea.
Yeah, I don't believe what those horrible people at the post office say about your father. Yeah,
yeah. All that sort of stuff. And then this is the point where just
her world falls apart. Yeah.
It's just too much.
It's really sad. Yeah. And then shortly afterwards, things don't get any better for the mum, because then we see her. She's shopping in the local supermarket back in Pauper Spit, and her feet. We see her feet are just cracked and red and hurting because she's only got this one pair of shoes, I guess, because they've lost all their money. And so she shoplifts a pair of sandals. Although it's never really clear if she deliberately shoplifts or just forgets. She says she forgets. But anyway, she puts on these sandals and she gets caught by, of course, the bitch store detective. And she ends up in a prison cell again, and the dad has to go and bail her out again. And then with whatever kind of last little bits of influence he still has with the local police or whatever, manages to get her off again. And he's driving her home, and she's just broken, and she's just like, I didn't mean to steal them. I really need help. Like she literally is crying for help, and he turns the radio up on her and just drowns her out. It is so cruel. And then he's just like, I'm leaving. He just packs his bags. He's like, I'm leaving. I'm moving in with Deirdre, and he blames her for everything. He just
so much blame in this.
Yeah, he's like, the reason I didn't get elected to like state office all these years ago, it's because my family didn't measure up, and it's all your fault, and you brought me down all these years. Just horrible, and just leaves her there. And then she just has a complete breakdown. She starts attacking one of her sons and is like, get out of the house, you layabout, stop embarrassing your father. And again, because she's so gentle for the first half of the film, the fact that she just has this complete breakdown is so powerful. And then he just like slaps her back and is like, you're the embarrassment, you mad bitch, and just like storms out and leaves her. And then again, we get this just long like still shot of just her standing by the table, just slowly breaking down. And it's so sad.
At this point I'm like, oh my god, it's her movie.
It really is. At this point it really does become her film. She's and then she kills herself basically off screen. We don't see the suicide scene, thank god. That would have been too much. But like Muriel gets a phone call from her husband's mansion, I guess, from the sister to say that the mum has died. And they all claim it publicly that she had a heart attack and she died in her sleep. But then when Muriel comes home, the sister, your terrible sister, she's obviously very upset and she's crying, and she admits that she took sleeping pills, she took an overdose, but the doctor kind of hid it to kind of protect the dad, kind of thing. So yeah, she's at the funeral, her mum's funeral, and her dad is still just making it all about him. Like they get there's a telegram gets read out, a telegram from a former Prime Minister of Australia, like a little message of condolence gets read out, and he's just like sat next to Muriel in the aisles, and he's just like, what are the journalists doing? Bastards, I'm not forgotten. I've got a Prime Minister writing to me on my wife's funeral, kind of thing. And Deirdre as well as being absolutely awful. She said in the apartment before the funeral, I think, when she's like clearing all the stuff out, and she says at least your mother's life would have amounted to something now, because it means that because she's died that the authorities will go easy on the dad. I think that's what she would have wanted. It's just it's just horrible. And
her life amounted to something.
Yeah,
it's sick.
It is truly like sociopathically awful. Yeah,
it was a heart attack. Joni found her. She was lying on the bed, looking peaceful. She didn't suffer. She made the ultimate sacrifice for your father. Judge will be lenient on him now. He's got kids to support. She'd be glad in the end her life amounted to something.
And this is like Muriel's wake-up call. Like I think at the funeral, actually, she realizes like just how bad.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to be like her dad.
When like the dad isn't actually he's only thinking about like himself, his public image.
Exactly. Yeah. And something happens, and she just realizes, and she runs out of the funeral, and she admits to her husband that she can't stay married to him. He kind of
after having sex.
Yeah. I mean, get it, Muriel. A swimmer's body, my god.
But like it's great because so she goes back to him, and she just opens up to him, and like she's talking quietly and slowly, and she's just being her actual self. Like there's no longer this image in front, and she's being her real self. And he finds her attractive in this moment. Like he sees her for who she is, and when she's this vulnerable person, this selfless for the first time vulnerable person, he finds that really attractive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he looks a bit upset when she wants to separate from him.
Definitely, because beforehand he had like nothing but contempt for her.
No,
like on the night of their wedding, they got sleep in separate bedrooms, and he says something like, "What kind of person marries someone they don't know?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, you did." And
Yeah.
but he says, "Well, I want to win. I've always wanted to win." And she's like, "Well, so do I." Like, so again, it's all about being this person and winning this imaginary contest that she's got in her head. And like I said, now she finally lets all that go and is just vulnerable and understands what really matters. And so they have their quite tender goodbye, and she offers to give him back the £10,000 that she got for marrying him, but he says she can keep it, which is very generous since it must have been like a week at most. Like, I bet the coach was pretty pissed off about that, but sure. And then she
only gives $5,000 back to her dad.
She gives, she's got she's got to live, she's got to
I know, but like $5,000,
that's not even half, But yes, so after leaving David, she goes back to Pauper Spit and she collects Rhonda. And Rhonda is still living with the mum, and the bitch friends are all there, and they're just being as awful as ever. Talking about how like they've made friends with this girl Rose Biggs, and she's like, "Rose Biggs, I thought she sucked your husband's cock." Yeah, but then I sucked her husband's cock, and I realised that we all make mistakes. Just fantastic. And then Muriel like comes in and asks Rhonda to go back to Sydney with her and to give her another chance. And the mother's like, "Why would you can't just come in here and turn Rhonda against the people who care about her the most?" And Rhonda's like, "Yes, you can." And then they go out together. They run out to the car, into the cab, and they're driving away. The main bitch girl Tanya's like,
"Wait a minute, you finished this, but you skipped over her dad."
Oh, sorry, that before she picks up Rhonda, she has a whole heart-to-heart with her dad. Sorry, that's important too. Yes, she has a heart-to-heart with her dad in the garden after the funeral.
The mum singed the garden.
Oh, yes, she burnt the garden to the ground.
Which is one thing. So
because she got fed up of waiting for Perry to mow it, at least. So
yeah. The thing that I noticed about this was it's smoking even like after the funeral. The garden is still it's still smoking.
Yeah. Probably shouldn't really be in there. Like, it's quite dangerous.
How do you go about burning a lawn?
True, she must have doused it in petrol.
I guess.
That's the only way you could do it.
Like, there's no other fire damage. Like, none of the bushes, like, the house is fine.
It's just a raised, Yeah. It's weird.
Like, she did a very neat job.
Yeah. Well, to the very end, housewife to the end, Yeah. But yeah, she does. You're right. Sorry. The dad thing is more important at this point. So yeah, she has this. She tells her dad that she's not going to stay in Pauper Spit and look after everything. He's now like lost everything. He's lost his job. He's unemployed. Deirdre's left him because she doesn't want to be around the kids. He tries to guilt trip Muriel. He's like, "You've got to stay around and help me. Someone's got to look after these kids." And she's like, "No, that's your job. That's not my job. And you've got to stop being so horrible to us. We're not useless, and we were never useless." And she gives him half the money back. And then he kind of seems like he respects her a little bit now. She stood up to him a little bit, and they have kind of a slightly,
And it's good that she didn't stay, not just for herself, but also that really forces the dad to
he has to step up and take responsibility. Absolutely,
He can't just half-ass it.
Yeah, exactly. So
we get nobody else to do it.
Exactly. So we get a glimmer of hope from him that maybe he'll be a better person. And then she goes and collects Rhonda from her mother and her friends, and because Rhonda's like, "Sorry, Mum, I love you, but you drive me crazy. And you three, what a bunch of cocksuckers." Yeah, it's a great kiss off. "You can't say that to me. I'm married. I'm beautiful." And then the two of them drive off into the sunset. It's this beautiful, beautiful ending when they're all just shouting goodbye to Pauper Spit. And she learns she doesn't need a man or a wedding or a husband. What she really needs is just a damn good friend. Yeah, and that's basically where it ends. So yeah, it's lovely. It's a lovely, lovely film.
It is. Well, it's
lovely, depressing.
It's lovely. It's lovely once you finished it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I would recommend this to my parents because I wouldn't be convinced that they'd not turn it off in the second.
Just because it got too heavy.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, what just happened to the mum? Oh, we can't watch this. And just turn it off there, and then be like, "Harry, that was the most depressing film we've ever seen." Because it would be, wouldn't it?
Sure, but I mean,
if it cut before the end, before it becomes a happy ever after. That's a horrible film.
True, but I think it's not the kind. The tone of the film is you know it's not going to end in a bleak tragedy. You know there's going to be some kind of redemption at the end.
Yeah.
Muriel, you can't come barging in here without warning, trying to turn Rhonda against the people who love her. Against the people who were there for her when she needed them.
Yes, she can. Sorry, Mum, you know I love you, but you drive me crazy. And you three, what a bunch of cocksuckers.
Okay, so drinking games?
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, drink for You're Terrible, Muriel.
Absolutely. I mean, that is the gold standard drinking game for this film. Absolutely. Yeah. It's an iconic line. It truly is an iconic line.
I
And
love that smile she does when she does
her smirk is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how many times a day that poor actress still gets asked to do that. Like,
Don't know. I
it
mean,
must be a lot. Yeah.
Depends how many films she's been in since. Because if she's not been in very many, then she probably would quite enjoy doing that quite a lot. It's like, yeah, I was a star once. I had a great line.
Okay, I wonder how many times Toni Collette, who obviously has a lot of other things in her back catalogue, gets that shouted at her.
Yeah.
I would struggle not to.
You're terrible, Tony.
Yeah. Yeah. She was, it must be like that guy who played Victor Meldrew, you know, the guy who used to do I Don't Believe It. Did you ever see that show?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Never mind. Forget it. What's a famous soap star or sitcom catchphrase that you...
Lots of things from Little Britain.
There you go. Yeah, I wonder, it'd be like how many times Matt Lucas gets told, yeah, I'm the only gay in the village kind of thing.
Don't like it.
Yeah,
Stuff
that
like
kind of, yeah, that must be like what she
Peter
has to...
says no.
Everyone who says it must think they're the first person to say it to her. I bet it haunts her. You know? Just pretend she's really amused every time.
Have you ever done that to anybody? Like, have you ever met any celebrities and just being like, oh, do the thing, and you think you're being really original?
No, in the few times I've met celebrities, I'm not a big fan of like getting selfies and stuff or quoting their own lines at them. I just try, if I have to have a conversation with them, if I'm forced to talk to a celebrity, I'll normally just try and like talk to them as a human being.
Yeah.
I'm not being like, I just genuinely wouldn't do that.
Same, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I've met a celebrity was very much in a situation where it was just, it was appropriate for a conversation, and there was nobody else like waiting or anything.
Who was that again?
The lead singer of the Cat Empire.
Yes.
Solo gig he did in the Brudenell.
Oh yeah.
He was hanging around before the gig and after the gig, and he was just there, just standing in the middle of the Brudenell. There was nobody there with him, and it was clearly in like his venue for his gig. It was only a very small gig. I was like, oh, finally my chance.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. You got sort of like a genuine moment with him.
Yeah, and like
cool.
have a, like a hug and everything, but like at no point was I like, can I take a selfie?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I've met. Yeah, I've
when you're touring with the Cat Empire again, I didn't, because like he's there on his solo gig. It's all about him.
Yeah, no, I ran into a Swedish singer who's only really famous in her world, obviously. But when I was in Stockholm a few years ago, and I remember going up to her. I was quite drunk, and so was she. It was in like a nightclub. She'd done a performance. I was just like, I just said like, I don't want a selfie. I don't really need anything. I just wanted to say that like, this album you released is one of my all-time favorite albums. So that's all I want. Just wanted to tell you that. And she was like, I'm so drunk, but thank you. That means so much to me. And she gave me a big hug. It was great. That was really fun. So, yeah.
Oh, I've met some of the Kaiser Chiefs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was very uneventful. Yeah.
Was that at a festival or something?
Yeah, it was at a festival. I snuck backstage and bumped into the Kaiser Chiefs. But first, I bumped into some folk act who'd been on much earlier in the day, and they thought I'd snuck back to see them.
Oh yes, I remember you telling me about this.
Absolutely hadn't.
Oh, celebrities. Good times. Yes, so drink for Your Terrible Muriel.
Yeah.
Sure, we got a bit off track there. But yeah.
One drink game in.
Yeah. Okay, drink for Casual Racism. There is some very, some questionable line. I mean, it's all for the comedy. It's not like this film is a racist film, obviously. But yeah, Bill says a few things like... there's a lot of scenes in the Chinese restaurants where he says some quite off-color things. He's like, there's the man, Charlie Chan, and this kind of stuff. Or like, or actually Deirdre has the worst line because she's introducing herself to I think they're Japanese actually, sorry. I think there might be some Japanese investors.
I think there's also Chinese there as well.
Yeah, or maybe she just assumes, doesn't see the difference. I don't know. Anyway, she's introduced to some Asian businessmen and she's talking about how her career is. She's a makeup saleswoman, and she says with complete sincerity, she's like, of course you'll know all about that, wouldn't you? Your wives are probably geishas. Like, oh my god. abort
Yeah.
like, yeah.
With the Charlie Chan's one, I was like, Well, for all I know, his
He
name
could
is
be
Charlie
called
Chan.
Charlie
Like,
Chan, but,
it could be.
It's possible, but
Yeah.
more likely.
But
yeah.
I was very aware that I'm absolutely giving the benefit of the doubt there. Just like,
Yeah.
it's possible.
I think he also
not
calls him a
racist.
worse because he's been all matey at the beginning before his downfall. I think he calls him a much worse racial line later in the film when it turns out that this guy is like testified against him. So
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
There's a fair bit of that. Yeah.
Fun. Drink for ABBA music.
Of course, Drink for ABBA. So many ABBA tunes. We get Dancing Queen multiple times, Waterloo, Fernando, I Do, I Do, I Do.
Mamma Mia?
Mamma Mia. I think Mamma Mia, maybe. Actually, I think we don't get Mamma Mia. Maybe that was. Maybe ABBA wouldn't give them that one because they're a musical. So, you know.
Was it at that point?
I think Mamma Mia, the musical, came out around the same time as this film.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't think Mamma Mia, the song, is in there, but maybe.
I want
But
to
yeah.
watch those films again.
The Mamma Mia films.
Yeah.
I'd watch this first.
Yeah, well, I just did watch this.
True. Yeah. No, sure, they're good.
But watching this just made me think like, oh yeah, I should watch those,
could stand
those
some more
Mamma
ABBA.
Mia movies again. Like, because I know they're shit, but I really enjoy them.
They are. Yeah, they're very watchable. Yeah. They were popular for a reason.
Cher's in it.
Exactly. No, I would happily watch
She's
this.
Meryl's mother.
Yeah. No, you don't have to do the hard
Cher's
sell.
a great grandmother
You
now.
don't need to do the hard sell on the Mamma Mia movies to me, my love. I will watch them anytime. Yes, so definitely Drink for ABBA music. Drink for the other probably most quotable line in the film, Deirdre Chambers. What a coincidence!
Yeah.
Every time Deirdre shows up, yeah.
Drink for smoking.
Yes, Rhonda in particular is a chain smoker, which is never comfortable when she's being treated for cancer. But you know,
Yeah, I mean it's not lung cancer.
it's not lung cancer. No, it's she does love a cigarette, and I think everyone basically smokes in this film.
Yeah.
It's 90s Australia. It's just how it was, I guess. But yeah, drink every time she corrects her name.
Oh yeah.
Muriel. No,
Yes.
Mario never seems to go in. I did wonder, do you think she changed her name by deed poll to Mario? Like legally changed it to Mario? Because she corrects the priest at the ceremony.
Yeah.
And presumably you need to state your real name.
Yeah, I believe so.
So if when they're like, do you Muriel Heslop take David Van Arkel? And she's like, Mario. I guess, is it even a legal marriage? Like,
I don't know.
I mean, it's only one letter, so, you know, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the sort of thing that in that specific case
Could
that,
be an
that,
issue,
That
yeah.
could really, because like, what if he wins gold at the Olympics and somebody else is like really close to winning gold or something, but like
yeah.
I don't know, they want to knock him down. They're like, wait a minute, is he even Australian? No, he's not. He's South African, and then he got married to an Australian. Who'd he get married to? Muriel? Or is it Mariel? What is it?
Oh, I see.
And then like, wait, was that marriage legal or was that marriage not legal? Because that means I could get gold.
I mean, if you really want to go to those lengths to get a gold medal that you didn't win fair and square, that's. But yes, no, absolutely. I don't know what the answer is, but yeah, it doesn't seem like she changed it legally. I think she just decided to be Mariel. But
Well, anyway, that's my sequel.
that's your Oh, you've spoiled it already. Okay, great.
No. I just come up with that. Then I'm just like that's the film I could see happening.
Absolutely, yeah, I
A
can see that.
courtroom drama about athletes.
I mean, there's a lot of potential legal issues that she could face throughout this movie. So yeah,
Did she get divorced?
we not on screen, so it didn't happen on screen. Did it happen? It's up to you. Up to your sequel.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, drink every time she corrects her name.
Yes. I've also got drink for ginger hair.
Ginger. Well, I mean, they're a ginger family, sure.
Yeah.
Just every time a member of the family, including the star, appears on screen.
Yeah.
Sure. That's quite an intense one.
Okay.
I did drink for sweat.
Ooh.
They're very sweaty. Do you notice how sweaty and clammy they are?
did,
I know it's
yeah.
Australia and it's summer, you know, it's a hot place, but just specifically them, like the family, just it really gave their apartment that extra like rundown feel. That like they all just looked like caked in sweat.
Yeah.
Like they weren't looking after themselves.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Bad haircuts too.
Well, yeah, very bad hair.
Obviously, when Muriel gets her haircut, she suddenly looks like a movie star.
Yeah, it's such a great makeover. But some of the siblings have really disturbing hair. Yeah.
So drink whenever somebody talks about Muriel and not to her.
Okay, while she's in the room.
Yes.
Yeah, that does happen a lot.
Yeah. But it's more at the start of the film, but yeah, plenty.
Yeah, people, and she just often just takes it. Like she's
so used to it.
She's just so used to being treated like shit. Yeah, that she'll just listen to this awful abuse. Yeah. Well, I had a drink for child abuse, but specifically it was just more like drink every time the dad is just an abusive bastard. Like when he says horrible things to any of his children, just like when he calls all of them useless and Yeah, just yells at them all. It did make me laugh when the oldest guy, Perry, the oldest son, sorry, when he's running around that backyard and he's playing rugby with himself.
Oh, yeah,
He's just like, how can a man be so strong and so fast? And the dad just goes, Perry, wake up to yourself. That's such a devastating insult. Just wake up to yourself.
Drink whenever somebody else's problems are ignored.
In favour of Muriel's or just generally?
Just in general.
Okay.
Like Muriel included.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the poor mother's problems are ignored by everyone, sadly, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, like, so there's the mother, there's Rhonda, there's Muriel, there's the siblings.
Yeah.
There's, no, there's not the dad. No one ignores the dad's problems.
No, the dad doesn't let anyone ignore his problems. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. My last one? Oh, well, yeah. Well, I'm going to combine my last two because they're kind of the same. Drink for hideous fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, hideous 90s Australian fashion.
Oh, God, it's horrible.
But also, I also said drink specifically for statement earrings. Did you notice how many amazing earrings?
Not at all.
Oh my God, so many earrings in this film. But like not just like earrings, but like chunky plastic like stars and half moons and triangles and all the different colors. And yeah, there's some really aggressive earrings in this film. That's really tickled me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also just bad fashion choices in general. I mean, everyone seems to be wearing at least one outfit at some point in the movie that looks like a magic eye painting. There's ones that you stare at them for long enough and like a picture appears. Like it must just be like tie-dye, like a 90s thing. They're all wearing these, like, whether it's Deirdre Chambers dresses or Bill's wearing a shirt at one point that's kind of like that. That's just like so loud, so very loud.
Yeah.
And yes, as I said, I did really enjoy Muriel's leopard skin dress with matching leopard skin scrunchie in a side ponytail. That was just what a strong look.
And the last drinking game I've got is drink whenever Muriel is terrible.
Yeah, that's fair. It's getting a little bit into the Con Air is racist territory now for me.
Okay.
But I understand your point. Yeah, she does make some poor decisions. Yeah.
I mean, she's not the villain of the movie.
She's not. She's our heroine. Yeah. She's just a very flawed heroine, but she comes good in the end. Yeah. And that's what matters. Yeah.
Yes. Did you come good in the end?
Yes. It was a long road, but I got there, yeah.
And Fury kicks! He picks it up! Go yourself! Go yourself is the roar from the crowd! Hislop! 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 Woo! How can a man be so strong and so fast? Hislop!
Perry! Wake up to yourself!
Cool. All right. So, sequel ideas then. What have you got?
Sure. So, I've got one idea here. I think you'll guess pretty quickly where I'm going with this, but it was... Oh, I want to preface this very quickly in that I know this is my very favorite film, and I know I said that. I don't want a sequel to this film.
Oh, yeah,
I don't want one to exist. And it's actually very hard to write one because I think it ends perfectly. It's such a good ending because it doesn't end with Muriel running away. Bryce, the nice guy, pops up a few times,
He's at the wedding looking really sad for himself.
That's the fact that he's at the wedding is very sweet and sad, and like. But I like that it doesn't end with her just like getting a man and like, her problems are solved. She doesn't need a man to be happy. Well, the fact that she ends just learning that happiness is just her accepting herself and also just finding a true friend. Her happy ending. It's not. I don't think we're supposed to believe that her and Rhonda are going to go and be lesbians now by any means. No. But she's just her love story is with her is more of a friendship story, and she's just found a true friend, and she's being a good friend for the first time. She's supporting her, and I just think that's the two of them riding off into the sunset is a perfect ending. So I don't want to know what happens after that. I don't care. Weird to say.
So what have you done?
So that made it harder to write this. No, I have written something, but I just want to put that out there that this is a perfect film that doesn't need a sequel. So sometimes that makes it harder.
So of 249 films, this is the only one.
The only one we've ever done that doesn't actually. Yeah, absolutely. All the rest sequels fully justified, and by all means call me. If you want me to write it.
Really, like even like for Room.
Hey, give me the check, and I'll figure some shit out. Yeah, Room was probably the closest. I don't know. I don't know which of ones were the hardest, but this was a challenge just because I think it does end. It's a perfect film for perfect.
Do you agree that was our worst episode?
I'm not going to say it was the worst episode we ever did. I wouldn't know. I think some of the early ones were just a bit rough around the edges, but like it was a challenging film. I'm not going to be like, no, you chose the worst film ever. Like,
I feel like I did.
Well, maybe okay. Well, if that's something you want to cling to, fine. But I don't want to end this podcast looking back on the negatives.
Okay.
All of our episodes were very special for me.
I'll see. That's where we differ. But okay, carry
fine.
on.
And all but the Glenn Close ones. Anyway, so as I said, you'll probably get where this is going quite quickly. But we are cutting to 30 years later.
Okay.
Muriel and Rhonda are still the best of friends living in Sydney. And they are now working together running Sydney's premier ABBA gift store.
Oh, okay.
Because Australians famously love ABBA, like even more than British people do, or like ABBA were massive in Australia. And so I think there'd be an ABBA gift store. Maybe there's like an ABBA museum or something. There's an ABBA museum in Sweden. Maybe there's one in Australia too. I don't know.
Are they going to bring that hologram tour to Australia?
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Yeah, so they're working together in the ABBA gift store, which I think would be a great happy ever after for them, just to be working together in this gift store. Also, Muriel's sister Joni, the You're Terrible Muriel sister, she's also moved to Sydney now and is working in the store with them.
Oh yeah,
just so that she can be there to
she's
provide.
Got the line.
She's just got to be there to provide the commentary. Yeah,
so that would be insane if she wasn't.
I needed her to be part of this. So
Yeah.
the three of them are working together in this ABBA store in Sydney. Muriel also has a 20-something daughter of her own now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been 25, 26 years since this film came out, so she's got a daughter who's about that age.
Who's the dad?
Well, this is where
Oh, okay.
you might be getting an inkling of where this is going.
Okay.
So she raised this daughter as a single mother, with obviously a lot of help from Rhonda.
Yep.
The daughter is now getting married herself. She's engaged to a cute young Australian guy. However, there is a hitch. Muriel has never told her daughter who the father is. And now that she's getting married, the daughter, who by the way is called Agneta, because she would of course name her daughter after the blonde lady from ABBA.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So just clearing that up for you. Yeah. So she's never told little Agneta who the father is, and now that she's getting married, she demands to know the truth. Who is my real dad? The problem is Muriel just isn't sure.
Ah, okay.
Because 25, 26 years ago, basically at the end of the first movie, she went through a bit of a purple patch, and she slept with 3 men who could potentially be the father.
3?
3 men. What
Whoa.
a slapper. 3 men who could potentially have been the father, and she never really figured out which one it is.
And who are they played by?
Well, the 3 guys she slept with, and again, this is just around the end of the first movie. There is David Van Arkel, the South African swimmer who's their ex-husband.
Sure, yeah.
Because they did notably have sex before they broke up.
Yeah.
There was also Bryce, the parking inspector.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking maybe they had, at some point off screen, they had a little fling around that same time. And the third one, at a particularly low moment in her life, she also slept with bitchy Tanya's dreadful husband, Chuck.
Oh, no.
She slept with Chuck.
So the only 3 men in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to be like, oh, maybe it's a brother. You know, I'm not going to.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, literally the only other man was Chuck. So
Yeah.
I brought him in. Maybe, you know, at some point in that very sad last third of the movie, she really hit rock bottom and slept with Chuck. Maybe after the funeral or something. Who knows? So Muriel's daughter Agneta invites all 3 men to Sydney to the wedding to try and discover the truth. And I'm sure you've got no idea what this is based on.
Apollo 13?
Close, yeah. Also, I think there's going to be a bit of a side flip with Rhonda, because I want more Rhonda. Rhonda's
Yes,
great.
absolutely.
Rhonda, who is still in her wheelchair, but despite that, is still extremely sexually active. Very much still going, having a great life. But actually, despite the fact that she's usually not one to be tied down, she has recently been seeing a 6'6" fireman called Joe, just a hunk of a man,
Nice.
who is naturally going to be played by Chris Hemsworth.
Absolutely.
Of course.
It would be a travesty if not.
Yeah, of course. And I just think it'd be really cute and great if Chris Hemsworth was, as this fireman guy, was just worshipping Rhonda, just like lovesick puppy over her, like you know. And he can
But also completely whipped by her.
absolutely, yeah, of course, because
Yeah.
she's not going to be tied down. She's a strong woman, yeah. And he confides one day to Muriel that he's planning to propose to her.
Oh.
And this sends Muriel into... She's happy for her friend, but it does send her into a little bit of a tailspin because her daughter's getting married, her best friend is getting married, she's still not married. And even though she's like moved past that period when she thought marriage was the be-all and end-all, it starts to kind of creep back in a little bit. She's like, well, everyone's getting married but me. Is this a problem? Like, you know, it just sends her a little bit nuts. Not to the degree of the first film, but, you know, it's not great for her.
Yeah.
But she's trying to be supportive. Anyway... The 3 exes, who may be the potential fathers, turn up before the wedding. So there's Chuck. I was thinking they could all be played by the same actors, more or less. None of them are that famous.
I thought you meant the same actor, like all 3
All
of them.
3 of them. Yeah, just Army Hammer, bring him back. No, definitely not. Although I was thinking, I mean, Chuck's only ever seen in the background. He's not really. So I did think maybe he could be like Eric Banner or something.
Oh, yeah.
Just thinking Australian actors around
Yeah,
Tony
yeah.
Collette's age, you know. Also, he's played like idiots before. I think he can do that very well.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
I'm thinking Chuck is like a mess. He's one of those overgrown frat boy types who's like day drinking all the time.
So he's still 20.
Still living life like he's hot stuff in his early 20s, even though he's just
Yeah.
like this middle-aged, increasingly unattractive kind of lechy type who's just no. And he's like, so he's awful, and he barely even remembers that he slept with Muriel. He's like, did we? Oh, I guess maybe. Like he's not making a good impression. There's also David Van Arkel, the who did in fact win the Olympic gold. This is the South African swimmer. Yeah. He did win Olympic gold, and he got married to a supermodel. Unfortunately, they don't have a very positive relationship. The supermodel's kind of a bitch, and that he lived a celebrity lifestyle, and now he's got this like miserable marriage to a wife he doesn't really love anymore. And he actually has come to view Muriel as the one that got away. Even though he was like horrified to marry her, they did have that nice moment at the end. So he's like, now they've not spoken for like 25 years, but it turns out all that time he's been like pining for her, especially now that his own marriage isn't going very well. So he comes back and he's like all lovesick over Muriel, and she's just kind of like not really interested. Doesn't really see him that way.
Yeah.
So that's him. And then finally there is poor lovely Bryce, who is the actual one who got away.
Yeah.
And it turns out they had a brief fling, but they drifted apart because he was just too focused on his career. Because he does have that great line when they're having sex. He's like, I need to tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm a parking inspector. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think that'd be funny. So I think let's just rip off the cord. This is obviously Mamma Mia. That's the plot of Mamma Mia. Spoiler. I'm thinking he's the Pierce Brosnan.
So, wait a minute. Are you calling this Muriel's Wedding 2? Here we go again?
I actually went for Mamma Muriel.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works on multiple levels.
Yeah, or Muriel's daughter's wedding, but I think Mamma Muriel works better.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Bryce is the actual one that got away, so he's going to be like the Pierce Brosnan
Muriel's
figure.
daughter's wedding. I thought of some other things. It sounds a bit too much like Bridget Jones's Baby, where it's it's very literal.
Yeah, no, I think Mamma Muriel works better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does have a double meaning, so yeah. Yeah, so he's the actual one that got away, so him and Muriel can maybe have a bit of a reconnection, kind of, like Pierce and Meryl did in the first Mamma Mia movie. Maybe there'll be some terrible, terrible singing. maybe like a romantic karaoke scene. They can do some other, I don't know. But Muriel also has to deal with Agnetta's bitchy future mother-in-law, who's going to be played by Jane Turner from Kath and Kim.
Oh, yeah.
She plays Kim.
Yep.
Yeah. So I just thought, because a lot of the comedy in this is definitely Kath and Kim-esque, we could kind of crowbar them in somewhere. So she can be there as well. But then, we get all kinds of misadventures and, romantic tanglements as we get ready for this wedding. The wedding day arrives, and Agnetta reveals that all three men took a paternity test. And the three men all step forward, the three husbands, and they go, you know what? You shouldn't read into it. Don't look at it. We'd all be more than happy to call you our daughter. You're a great girl. And she's like, no, sod that. I want to know.
Yeah.
She opens it, and she's like, oh, thank God it's Bryce. Because the other two are not good choices. So thank God Bryce is the father. Everyone's thrilled. Muriel snogs Bryce. They get together. Rhonda snogs Chris Hemsworth. The daughter gets married, and everyone lives happily ever after.
Nice.
Yeah. So there you go. A shameless rewrite of Mamma Mia, but that is Mamma Muriel. It feels fitting.
Yeah, I'd say that works. I'd like to see that made.
Yeah, good. Well, maybe it will be.
Yeah. And then they make you really unhappy if your favourite film gets a sequel.
I mean, if I've written the spec script for it, I'd dry my tears with those dollar notes.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Very nice. Yeah, okay. I will have to admit that mine is not as well thought out. So you know how I do those things sometime where I go to rhymezone.co.uk. I've not done that this time.
Okay. What rhymes with Muriel?
Exactly, yeah.
Mercurial?
I'm screwed. So instead, I went to Your Life is Golden, 50 events you could explore in your own memoir.
Okay, interesting.
Which it was a fantastic read. It was like, maybe you got married.
I'm confused. How did you get to this for Muriel's wedding?
Because I started thinking like, so it was Muriel's wedding. What other life events are there?
I see.
And obviously I thought of a few myself, but then I was like, I've got nothing here. I need more.
Oh, so will I open it with like Muriel's funeral? And then
so I've got Muriel's engagement.
Yeah.
So
nice.
She
finally gets legit engaged to someone who loves her, yeah?
Yeah, because she didn't really have an engagement in this.
No, not really.
So I could totally see, you know what? I do still really want to get married, but
To the right
I
guy.
want to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was not right on so many levels. And so it's all about her getting engaged. You've got to find the right man, and he's got to be a keeper. And eventually he's going to propose, and Muriel's going to have an engagement.
Is it going to be Bryce?
Well, maybe,
Could be, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe she goes on a little journey and just finds out that, it was Bryce all along. Like, he was the one.
She goes looking for Mr. Right, yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Obviously, I've got Muriel's funeral.
Yeah, sad, yeah.
Don't need to explore that too much.
No, let's not. Let's draw a veil over that for sure.
Yeah. Muriel's divorce.
Yeah.
That could honestly go hand in hand with the first one there, Muriel's engagement. Just like, wait a minute, am I still married to that South African?
Yes, yeah, no, that could be fun. Yeah, she finds Mr. Right and then she has to get unmarried to David without causing a scandal. That could be fun, yeah.
Might be quite interesting to try and track him down as well.
Yeah, maybe he drops off the radar for sure. Yeah.
Oh, maybe like she. I don't know. Like if she can think of some reason why she needs to get married by a certain date.
The ticking clock. Yeah.
Yeah. For whatever reason. I can't think of a reason why.
But... I mean, you literally married a woman who was 8.5 months pregnant. That's as close to a ticking clock as you're going to get.
I guess. Yeah. But yeah, maybe she's got to do that. But unfortunately, that date that she needs to get married by and also need to be divorced by is before the Olympics. And so she divorces him before that.
He can't
compete.
Okay.
So then there's a bit of
tension. Interesting.
Bit of tension there. I don't really know where to take that. So that's Muriel's divorce.
Like it, yeah.
Muriel's birthday.
Oh, that sounds
I'm
nice.
stretching here.
That sounds like more like a comedy short that's just like not really a full film, but maybe they show it before another film and it's nice.
Yeah. Maybe.
Muriel and Rhonda's having a nice old time.
Yeah. And now I'm right in the depths of this article of like what might have happened in your life.
God. Okay.
Muriel's promotion.
Okay, she becomes a bit career focused. Yeah, she's managing that video store. Yeah. Well, she'd have to get another job because at some point, if we're bringing it to the present day, the video store's going to be well out of business.
Probably, yeah.
So she needs a new job. Maybe she becomes a wedding planner.
Nice.
That could work very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
She can combine her passions.
Yeah. And now before I get to the final one that I've got here that I've expanded a bit as well, I would just like to read how this article concludes because it's fantastic. So it separates out the things into school, family, friends, relationships, work, life, learning, and then it finishes towards the end with first hobbies, travel, and then history. So the 49th thing that might have happened in your life, you became aware of what was happening in the world or your community.
After everything else, you finally start thinking about someone other than yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 50. You witnessed or participated in an important moment in American history, such as World War II or September the 11th.
God.
What a note to finish on.
That's a leap.
Yeah. Firstly, like, would you not think of that yourself?
If you participated in September the 11th, that sounds like you perpetrated it. Like, that's the list.
No, you could have been like a firefighter.
You could have been a firefighter, yeah, sure. But like, yeah, you get engaged, you get married, you have your first kid, you get a promotion, and then you become an international terrorist. That's how it goes, yeah.
Anyway, so one of the things in there was about winning an award or something like that. And so this one is Muriel's Olympic medal.
Oh, Muriel herself becomes an Olympic medalist. Interesting, okay.
So sometime later, Muriel and Rhonda, still played by Tony Claire, Rachel Griffiths,
of course,
are still living together.
Great.
Muriel is still living by the lesson she learned at the end, which is to not be selfish and that she needs to be there for her friends and family. And one day, Rhonda wheels herself into their Sydney Harbour viewing apartment. They're in a nice place now. And starts up a conversation. Should I text you this?
Go for it.
I'm going to read the first bit, which is a bit long, and then you'll come in with what I've texted you.
Okay.
Feel free to do the accent if you want to. I will not.
Okay.
Because I cannot.
Okay.
Muriel, I've had a very good life with you. We've done a lot of shit. You got married and quickly divorced, so did I. I became the first person to wheel up the highest mountain in Australia. You learned to sew and started a wedding dress shop, which...
That sounds passive-aggressive. I climbed a mountain on a wheelchair. You learned to sew.
You single-handedly put out that bushfire last year, and I introduced chocolate to Australia.
I think Australia has chocolate, Harry, but sure.
You never know.
Okay, I mean, I never really gave it much thought, but okay.
I've seen no proof that Australia actually exists.
Oh, okay, so true, yeah.
There is that. But anyway, carry on with it.
Sorry, okay. Says me now. Yes, Rhonda, it's been quite the time. I'd do it all again with you. Quite the time.
Well, Muriel, I'm not satisfied.
You're not?
Nope. I want us to win something. I want to know that of all the people, we did it best.
Well, you did win that Guinness World Record.
Well, anybody can win a record. You just need to invent something so weird that no one's ever thought to do it before.
Okay. So what did you have in mind? I'm digging into Kath and Kim here.
Well, Muriel, I want us to compete in the Olympics.
The what? Are you crazy?
Yep. I was thinking about your ex-husband the other day, and if he can do it, so can we.
I like your ambition. I'm here for it.
That's actually all I've got. So
Okay.
we'll have to just go from here.
Okay, so the two of them together want to win a joint Olympic medal?
Oh, it doesn't need to be joint. I was thinking that Muriel's going to go to the Olympics and Rhonda's going to go to the Paralympics.
Okay.
And both going to compete in different sports.
Are
Obviously.
they like? Is it present? Are they like in their like late 40s to early 50s at this point?
Yeah, that's one thing that I was thinking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, not.
Well, so maybe it can be like maybe it could be something you wouldn't really think of. Like maybe like Muriel turns out to be really good at archery.
Yeah, great.
You know, it's something that I'm not saying that archery. I don't know if you could be a really great archer in your 50s. I'm sure there was a lot of physical.
Well, different sports have different age brackets that you can like realistically be competing at a world class level.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, something random like that. She could be really good at archery or shot put or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's like specific to Muriel's skill set. We know that she's good at lying and she loves ABBA. Don't know how that helps from a sports perspective.
Olympic poker, lying, Olympic singing, Olympic ABBA songs.
I mean, they could have added a category that we don't know about.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think you're probably on something with archery.
I think archery's the one. Yeah. She becomes
like shooting or something.
Yeah. I mean,
something that's more of a precision sport. That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So they become Olympic medalists. Yeah,
I mean, there's some sort of plot.
Insert plot here. Well, I guess it's all about the lessons they learn along the way.
Yeah, we'll have a journey in there, but ultimately I want them to each go to the Olympics and compete and do really well.
And maybe that's where they find love.
Maybe
Muriel meets a sexy Olympic athlete, not David, someone new. I don't know, some male archer or something or whatever. I don't know. Maybe Rhonda, who's always struggled to find anyone who can keep up with her because she's such a high energy driven person. Maybe she finds like a Paralympic athlete, who's also in a wheelchair or something, who is just as driven as she is, and she falls in love with him. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, absolutely.
That could work. Yeah.
Whatever happens, I would like Muriel to come second in whatever final event that she's in, and so like just miss out on the gold, and then we cut to the audience and her sister's there, just going, "You're terrible, Muriel."
Yeah, or maybe
she
she
just won an Olympic silver medal. Shut up.
Or maybe she like misses the mark altogether.
Yeah.
Ends up impaling someone in the audience, and the sister's just like, "You're terrible."
Something like that.
Something, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
So yeah, it's
Muriel's Olympics. What was that called? Did you say?
Muriel's Olympic.
Muriel's Olympics. Muriel's Olympic gold.
Yeah. Sorry, Muriel's Olympic medal.
Muriel's Olympic medal. Okay, yeah, I can see that. It's got some potential there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Something.
Okay.
I also thought that this film, it reminded me so much of Romy and Michelle's.
Yes, I thought
reunion.
that too. It'd be nice to see them just living that life.
Yeah, and I was really wondering if there's some sort of a crossover there, but I just couldn't think of anything.
Yeah, maybe they go on a road trip to America and they run into Romy and Michelle and like, yeah. I almost wrote. I didn't write a crossover.
I mean, you could definitely do something with this Olympics not being in Australia.
Yes,
but the next Olympics is in Paris.
They go to Paris, and maybe Romy and Michelle have had the same crackpot idea.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes, it's the battle of the middle-aged ladies inexplicably trying to win Olympic
That's
gold.
who they're competing against.
That could be fun, yeah.
And for whatever reason, one of Romy and Michelle is in a wheelchair now.
Sure, we don't know what's been going down in their lives. Yeah, sure. No, I definitely saw that.
If you throw in Meryl and Goldie Hawn, then we're doing great.
Just get all the classic pairings. Yeah. No, I definitely saw that too. I almost wrote that into my sequel that her and Rhonda are basically Romy and Michelle at this point, but I didn't end up including it. But it definitely came to my mind as well. Great, fantastic. So, should we move on to listener submissions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we had a few this week. A lot of them were basically the same ideas that you had. Muriel's divorce, we had Muriel's funeral. But then we also had Rory Salmon said Muriel's best friend's wedding. Muriel has to deal with Rhonda getting married. So I mean, I already pitched that in mine, but yeah, obviously it's based on my best friend's wedding. Muriel's best friend wedding. Clayton Turner said Muriel's red wedding. A vengeful Deirdre Chambers returns to wreak havoc on Muriel's long-awaited wedding day.
Okay.
So Deirdre Chambers comes back with murder on her mind on Muriel's wedding day. Interesting. Lawrence Fuller said Muriel Getting Married, a very slow improv-based movie about a depressed Muriel attending her sister's wedding. It's based on a film called Rachel Getting Married.
Right, okay.
Improv film starring Anne Hathaway.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite depressing. Simon Garner said, my best...
Isn't it great that you're here to explain literally every film plot?
Pretty much. You're going to miss this. You're going to miss this. I've only got one more. You only got one more of these. Enjoy it. Simon Garner said, my big fat Australian wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Muriel moves to America and finally finds a man. But can their relationship survive a trip home to meet the family? So, yeah, she brings someone who doesn't understand Australian lifestyle, and they have to meet her terrible family. Will the relationship survive?
Got it.
And finally, Lisa Montagne said, 4 Muriel's weddings and a funeral. Muriel burns through 4 husbands in 25 years.
Yep.
Each more disastrous than the last, with the final wedding ending in murder. But whose?
Oh, okay.
It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So that was it. Thank you, everybody, for those sequel ideas. We ask for your listener submissions every week, a few days before we record, by putting posts out on Facebook and Twitter where you can post your ideas. So make sure you like and follow our pages to make sure you don't miss out. To listen to more episodes of Beyond the Box Set, you can subscribe and browse our back catalogue on any podcasting platform, including Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and many others, on all of which you can leave us a 5-star review. And Harry, this is the end. It is. We are recording next week our final episode of the main show.
Yeah.
The time has come. So, Harry, what are we going to do?
We had an idea for a season a while ago, which we never did for a reason that will become... Well, we never did it because...
We didn't have any damn time for it.
No, the season was movies that had one great sequel. And so, there's so many options of what you can do there because, we've obviously done movies that don't have any sequels.
Or sometimes we've done movies with sequels that we've just ignored.
Yeah.
It's happened. Jingle All the Way, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Jingle All the Way have one.
Straight to video.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so we decided that would be a great shout for the final episode. And of that season, of which we had a fair few ideas, of different films that we could do. There's like Kill Bill, you could do Tron, there's all sorts. But we have actually settled on a little film that has come up in many listener submissions.
Probably a contender for your favourite film.
Probably, yeah. And a sequel with one of the all-time best sequel titles that you could ever think of.
Indeed.
So next week, for the final episode, we are going to do Sister Act and Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit.
Hooray.
Finally.
I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yes.
I've not rewatched those films in a long time. So
no, me neither.
Very much looking forward to revisiting them.
Yeah, I think I've just been saving them for this.
Yeah.
When I was young, Sister Act 2 was the movie that I watched whenever I was ill.
Aw. Or whenever you were pretending to be ill. Like when you pretended your legs weren't working.
That was real.
I'm on your sister's side of that. That was some bullshit.
You weren't there.
I don't care. I just can believe that you would fake that. But fine, yeah.
I got 2 days off school for that. I felt really bad.
Okay. Did you watch both Sister Act movies?
I don't remember.
You probably did. Yeah. Great. Well, listeners, join us next week for the grand finale, Sister Act and Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit, and the long-awaited sequel, Sister Act 3. What will we come up with?
Yeah, who knows? So, thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you for subscribing. Speak to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
You're terrible, Muriel.